Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jay. I'm a military and naval historian, and today it is December 14th, so that means only 10 shopping days left before Christmas. And hey, do you have a historian or history buff that is hard to find something for? Or do they just need a new set of books to go through, and they're just indecisive of what they want to read? Well, you're in luck. This is something that I did on my old WordPress and uh, Substack blogs, and I want to continue doing that here on the video side. I meant to do this earlier, but I had some illness and technical difficulties, but got that figured out. But today, very special day, I am going to give you 6 recommendations of books that I read and enjoyed this year that are historical in nature that might be good ones for your friend or loved one that you're still trying to find to purchase. These range anything from pretty quick, easy reads all the way up to the thickest 500-page biography you will ever see. And I kid you not, it is thick. I will show you too. So let's get started. First of all, this is uh, this is Tom Standage's A Brief History of Motion. It is from Bloomsbury Publishing, release, and it is going for $19 US. And I love it, just like his previous book, which was recommended to me by a bunch of historians, History of the World in Six Glasses. This one shows development of history as through telling the story of the wheeled vehicle from, primitive wheels all the way up to a potential future with self-driving cars and all electric infrastructures. So definitely a good one to check out, especially if someone's interested in transportation. Next, and I try to read at least one, if not two, books on African American history during Black History Month every February. And this year I went with the Pulitzer Prize winning King, A Life by Jonathan Eig. This is available from Picador Press and currently going for $23. And um, I enjoyed it. It's very, very thoroughly detailed. Eig starts by explaining not just King's childhood uh, as a pastor's kid under his father, Martin Luther King, at Ebenezer Baptist in Atlanta, but also gives a little background into Martin Luther King Sr. himself. And what I really do appreciate is, unlike a lot of quick histories, and this is even at the college level with King and the Civil Rights movement, they kind of yada 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 over everything post Selma and Voting Rights Act, and join up again with King at his untimely assassination, April of 1968. Whereas Eig does not do that. He keeps going through it. He keeps showing that uh, King did not consider Voting Rights Act in Selma to be the end of the civil rights movement, but the end of a stage of the civil rights movement, and he was trying to get more equality in employment and get more unions that accept black people all the way up until his death, and that's why he was in Memphis. So, highly recommended book. Like I said, it's also Pulitzer Prize winning, so that means the Boffins go through all these nominations these years. Thought it was a worthwhile read, and so definitely recommend picking it up. Um, as you know, I am primarily a naval historian. I geek out on that stuff, and uh, fortunately, so does the other folks. This year, there's a new book that came out through the Naval Institute Press from Nicholas Lambert, and it is the Neptune Factor, Admiral Alfred Thayer Mahan, and the concept of sea power. As like I said, available from Naval Institute Press. I didn't see a price on the jacket, but I believe it spent like $25-30 on it. Um, so this basically goes through. It's a biography of not Mahan's life necessarily, although that's that. It's really a biography of the development of Mahan's thinking and how it came to his he came to his conclusions on sea power, and also that has a little bit of discussion of how those his thinking has continued to inspire American foreign policy as if it wasn't for Mahan's influence of sea power upon history, 1660s, 1783, we would not have the American century with its emphasis on economic policy and naval, uh, having a strong navy to support that. So definitely recommend picking it up. Next, this is not really a history book, but more of a it's more conceptual in how we think about memory in using the Vietnam War as the underlying thing that memory uh, is being, how we think memory, and that is uh, Nothing Ever Dies, Vietnam and the Memory of War by Viet Thong Nguyen. It is available from Harvard University Press for 28 bucks. This is very enjoyable because this is uh, written by someone who was directly influenced and impacted by the Vietnam War. Um, and he just shows how memory of war, like a controversial one like Vietnam, how it's being remembered mostly through Vietnamese eyes, so as compared to what we commonly think of through American eyes. And the American version was in memory of Vietnam War, is definitely well presented to us by Ken Burns in his documentary on that war. Uh, as y'all know, I am a transgendered person, and my youngest brother's fiance actually gave me a really good introduction to the history of transgendered people in the world and in history with the 25th edition of Transgender Warriors, Making History from Joan of Arc to Marsha P. Johnson and Beyond by Leslie Feinberg. This is available from Beacon Press. Looks like it's going for around 26 bucks. Um, yes, it does say it's going to start the history with Joan of Arc, but really it actually goes further back and starts a discussion with Native American two-spirited people, and which I do appreciate because I do think that a lot of times we forget that Native American history is just as important and has just as much influence on us. And that book, the history, like I said, it's 25th edition, so the original version came out in the mid 90s, and while there hasn't been any updates to it since the mid 90s, it's still a good book to get a basic understanding of the general up to the mid 90s history of transgendered folks. And finally, like I said, the thickest 500-page biography you will ever see, but also a good one for someone who enjoys the World War eras and needs to know more about one of the most important members of the Joint Chiefs in the Second World War, the man who ran the Navy himself, and that is with King's Navy, Ernest J. King and the Rise of American Sea Power, 1897 to 1947. That's written by David Kohnen. Like I said, probably the thickest 300 pages, 500 pages you'll ever see. Like on camera, it covers half my face. It is available from Sheffer Military History for the whopping price of 500 bucks. Now, full disclosure, I got it at the Society for Military History's annual meeting last year, and they threw a free tote bag in with it. So I'm not sure you get that if you order it online, but um, this is a very good volume. What I really appreciate is that Admiral King, by the time he became Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Fleet and later Chief of Naval Operations in 1942, was the only officer in the United States Navy who he started in battleships and then did a lot of staff time during the First World War on Admiral Sims' staff in London. And then between the World Wars, he went over to submarines, help get this interwar era submarine force set up, and I also designed the modern dolphin pin that you see American sailors who are submarine qualified wear. And then he transitioned over to aviation and was the second head of the Bureau of Aviation after Admiral Moffat's tragic passing in 1933. And then, yeah, so he saw knew all sides of what was going on with the Navy, and he was also heavily influential on the development of not just big gun warfare and times leading up to the First World War, but the development of modern submarine force structure and also modern naval aviation. And during those, and his influence didn't stop with that. And like, because like I said, he was the commander in chief of the U.S. fleet as well as chief of naval operations, pretty much through the entirety of the Second World War. And it was his influence that, and his aggressiveness, that if assets were not being used in one theater, he get a move to the other theater so that they can move. So it was, if it, and this was while maintaining a Europe first policy. If it wasn't for King, the Pacific War probably would not have ended in 45. It would probably gone to 47, 48. But with King, be like, hey, we got these assets, let's use them and not just sit on them, just building up. It forced the Japanese war to come to a much quicker conclusion. It also, the threat of moving stuff out of the Atlantic into the Pacific forced the Brits to move faster on and not drag their feet on getting that cross-channel invasion taken care of. So definitely highly recommended. And again, all these books should be available at bookshop.org. I do plan on putting links to them in the description. Hopefully you can find something. I know tomorrow's December 15th, so I know a lot of folks, including Walmart or Amazon, are saying that December, if you get your order in by end of business on the 15th, that they can guarantee they can have your stuff there by Christmas. If it's okay, they would. If you need it soon, if it's after that day, you need it soon, I'm sure you're gonna have to pay more for shipping. But also check your local bookstore; they might have it. You never know. Anyway, I hope you like this. I hope you find a recommendation that works for your loved one. Please like this video, regardless, or just because you like it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Please share this with folks who are having trouble finding something for their history buff friend or family member to get them. And finally, not in addition to making sure you're kind to everyone in the comments, if you got any other book suggestions, it does not have to be history, it can be any book. Please put that in the comments. You never know who's looking for something like that. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye bye.